Okay. Last class we discussed lot of new things actually. Today, what we'll do, we'll continue to discuss about the. I'll just recap, and then we'll continue to discuss about the data definition language, like create statements and alter statements today. So what we discussed is in the case of big data or any big data environment. Okay, we can create a database. Database, create one folder. Okay, inside database, if you create a table, it will create another folder. Okay, and when you insert the data, it will create file. What we'll do, we'll practically create different types of files today, and then see how it works. So in the case of the notebooks that I provided, there is a DDL. In that, kindly open. Okay, if you'd like to create table, we have seen how to create a database. Now we'll see how to create tables. Yeah. So whenever you want to create a table, the syntax is simple. So create table, name of the table, let's say sample one, and then you can give the column names, id, integer. You can specify any of the constraint. There are only 3 constraints supported: null, not null, and check constraint. Let's say if I want to mention not null, I can mention not null. And then you can provide another column name, and then the data type. Here, if you wish to, okay, if you want to create table in the location you mentioned, you can mention location. Okay, there are 2 locations that you can create tables in the DBFS, like user, hive, warehouse, and then provide the table name like sample one or whatever. Or there is one more called as a user TMP, user/TMP, and then you can provide any kind of folder structure you want. It's up to you. So if you mention the location, then the table will be created in the same location. Okay. If you don't mention the location, then it is called as a managed table. If you mention the location, then it is called unmanaged table. I will tell you the difference. So we'll create the tables, different types of tables. Once we learnt about the tables, I will talk about this. Now, so whenever I told you last week, we have created a lot of things last week. Okay, a lot of things last week, but there is no database, because whenever you stop the community edition of the cluster, it will remove the metadata. But in real time, it won't happen, because this is free. They will not be able to manage a lot of data. That's why they are removing. Just don't worry about it. Let me create a database. Create database sample. Okay, a database is created. Now, if I want to create a table, then if I don't mention, can anybody answer? If I don't mention database name, then which database this sample one will go to? If I want to create a table and if I don't mention a database name, then it will go to default database. If I mention database name, then it will go to this database. So here I mentioned the database name, then it will go to sample database. I can create the same table in n number of databases. I will create the same table without the schema also, you will see. Now if I remove this sample, then if I create, then it will again create one table will be created in default, one table will be created in sample database. Okay. Can anybody tell me what is the default location where the folder will be created? percentage fs. Hello, can anybody try? Which is the default location the table or a database will be located? Can you give a try? Yeah.
Users hive, that one.
Yeah. Slash user
Hive.
slash hive warehouse. Okay. Just try to be interactive so that it will help you. I know even if it's not interactive, if you are attentive, you will be able to do that. But I'm just telling you, it will be really help you. Like even I feel that you are more attentive in the class. So this is the sample one folder. Okay, inside this there will be the another folder for the table, another folder for the table. Okay, and then it will be there. So there is another DB where we have created sample.db is the database that we have created. Inside that also there is a sample one. Two locations we have created. Two locations we have created. Okay. Now, if I insert the data, then it will go to the same location. I told you I can create a table. Okay. Let's say I want to create sample two. I can create a table with the location. Okay. If I mention the location, then I can alter this. I don't need to go to this particular location. I want to go to some other location. Same as database we have seen. User hive. Let's say I want to create user tmp, and then in that wh, let's say new. If I queue a new has a folder name, it will go into new. It won't create a sample. Okay, no, I don't want to do that. I want to be on the same page, so it will create over there. It will create in this particular location. Okay, you can do like this. Now, if I drop this particular table, sample one, for example, if I want to drop this particular location, the difference between managed and unmanaged is managed means I don't mention location and I give full control to Databricks. Okay, unmanaged means I mention location and I will take control of data. Take control of data. What I mean is, if I drop this particular sample table, let's say drop table sample one. So in this location, I will not have that folder. Okay, if I drop sample two, sample dot sample underscore two. Okay, if I go here, sample.db and then sample two. Okay, this particular thing now this particular dbfs don't have the control to create an unmanaged table, but in real time I will show when I create a Azure location, I can create table in Azure location. At the time, it will not drop this folder. The data remains. The data always remains. Here it is not supporting because we are creating the same data lake. But when we use the Azure data lake, it will not drop. Just keep this in mind. I will show that when we try to create the Azure. Right now, since it's only 30 days, we are not created. We are using the communication. But even if you drop, this folder exists. This folder exists. Now, in the case of create statement, actually, there are many ways that I can create the data file. Okay, if I create a table, okay, let's say sample. Now I have one column, let's say. Now I can mention I want to store the data into CSV file. Okay, can I execute this? Let's see. Okay, create table, sample, let's say sample 3 I will create using CSV if I do. What will happen? Okay, now insert the data. I will insert the data. I will insert into sample 3 ID values, and then you can provide one value. Okay. Now in the backend, it will try to load this data into a CSV file. How can I check that? %fs ls. I'm trying to type this many times because you will be able to remember. You may not play the way that I'm playing that much in the real time, but it will be helpful. It will be helpful. Okay, sample 3. Then if you look in this location, okay, then you see the CSV file. This is the CSV file. Okay, if I want to load into some other format, let's say XML. Okay, sample 4. Okay, if I XML is not allowed, let's say JSON if I do. Okay, if I insert the data into JSON file, then it will actually create a JSON file file in the JSON format, data in the JSON format. See this JSON format. If you want to read whether it is a key value pair like a dictionary, we'll see that how you need to use this command. Copy the whole path, %fs, just type head, then it will display the data. ID colon 1. Like this, you can create tables in different formats, but important formats are, okay, important formats are, let's say create table. If I use Parquet, okay, if I use Parquet, it will create the file in the Parquet format. It will create the file in the Parquet format, and it is unreadable. What is Parquet format? It is a compressed format. Whenever you use a zip file, okay, whenever you zip something in any folder, for example, if I try to zip this, okay, can I read this properly? You cannot read that properly. Like that, even whenever you use a Parquet format, it is compressed. It is compressed and it is not directly readable. It is not directly readable. Okay, let's see how to read that. Let's see how to read that. Let's say if I create a table like this, yes, it is created, and if I insert value, okay, it is inserted. Now, if I go in this particular location, you will see the file. Okay, you will see this particular file, which is Parquet file. Sample file is a Parquet file. Now, since it is a table, can I do a select star from? You can do a select star from. Select star from sample file. Okay, it will show the data. There is no issue. One row is there, it will show the data. Okay, since it's big data, you don't always need a table. I can directly read the data. What do I mean by directly read the data? Select star from Parquet and then copy paste this location and then copy paste this. Sorry, if I do this, it will fetch the data. It will fetch the data. There is no need of metadata. There is no need of metadata. Okay. Hey Vinod, can you show me whether I can read a CSV file? Okay, I created a CSV file. Yeah, select star from CSV. I think it is sample 2 or sample 3. We'll see. I can copy that CSV path. Okay. And then I can display. No issue. You can do that. I'll just remove this and then put CSV. Okay, see. Header name is underscore C0. CSV stores that. We'll talk about it later. How to overcome this issue. Okay, you don't need any kind of metadata. I don't need select star from, okay, table name. Okay, just go to file and then read. Just go to file and then read. Okay, you can create using CSV, you can create using JSON, you can create using Parquet. Okay, but remember, okay, let's try to, okay, there is another format called delta. Okay, let's try to do, okay, what we cannot achieve using CSV, JSON and Parquet, how we are going to achieve that using delta. Any questions still here, guys? Using CSV, using JSON, using Parquet. Any of you got any questions?
So these are the only three formats available, or
There are a lot
are
of
there
them.
any other?
There are a lot of them. I will cover later. I'm just giving some examples like CSV, JSON,
Okay.
Parquet, Avro, ORC, Delta, Excel, XML. So these will be covered over a period of like while I'm teaching, I'll be covering. But this
Okay.
is also, yeah. While
Thank you.
teaching big data mainly, I will be covering this wish actually. Right now, I will cover only like simple. We'll go slow so that you will not overwhelm with
Yes,
the,
yes, correct.
yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. Okay. Any questions anybody having, guys? Can I read table directly without having table created? Can I read data from file in Databricks? Can anybody answer?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. How to do that?
Direct path of the file.
Yes. Select star from
Select
file
star
type.
from file type and path of the file.
Yeah. Don't give the single quotes. Use the back quotes, which is there on the before one number one button. There is a back quote, right? That you have to use, and you have that will actually help. Okay, and then you can give the path, file path. Okay. Now we'll try to do some things actually. Okay. Now I have all this sample 3, sample 4, sample 5, right? I have data. Now what I want to do, I want to delete the data. Okay, let's say I want to delete from, how to delete the data? We'll use the command delete from sample 3. Okay, where ID it is not sample 3. Let's say it should actually delete every data. I'm not able to delete the data. I'm not able to delete the data. Okay, if I do truncate will work. I'm not denying that fact. Even with Parquet format, let's say 5. Okay, I will not be able to delete the data. Let's say I will create a table with 2 columns. Let's say I will create a table with 2 columns. Create table. Okay, let's say M EMPL. Let's say I have a lot of them created, so it will throw error. That's why I will use new names. Just bear with me. String. Let's say using, let's say, Parquet. Now I create this table. I will insert the data. Insert into EMPL. Okay, values. Even if you don't give column name, kindly provide all the column names like this. It will be, let's say, Vinod. Now here I have 2 columns. Now I want to update name from Vinod to, let's say, Sachin. Let's say, for example, I want to update table EMPL set name is equal to, okay, Sachin, where ID is equal to 1. Okay, let's say, look at here, update is not possible. Okay, delete I will do. Delete from EMPL where ID is equal to 1. Okay, delete also should not be allowed basically. That's why I'm showing. So delete not possible, update not possible. Okay, if at all if this is the case, then what is the use of using Spark SQL? What is the use of using Databricks? That's why They came up with a new format called delta. Okay, if I create a table with delta format, then it will do the delete, it will do the update. So this is called as a CRUD operations. CRUD means create, read, update, delete. Only delta format supports. Delta format supports this. Okay, let me try the same thing using delta. Using delta. EMPL 1. If I create, okay, I will insert two values rather so that I can easily retain one. Even one get deleted. Okay, I will insert two. Okay, can I delete? Oh, sorry, EMPL1. EMPL1. Delete also EMPL1. I will insert first. I will insert into EMPL1. Okay, two rows got inserted. Delete. Delete from EMPL1 where ID is equal to 1. So it is deleting. Can I, how to check whether that row got deleted? Can anybody tell me how to delete, how to check that?
Select star from delta.
EMPL1. Yeah,
Oh,
EMPL1. Just do the table now. So only one got deleted, two is available. Can I update this? Can I update this? Okay. I need to mention EMPL1. It will update. It will update. If I try to do select star from EMPL1, then it will see here. From Vinod, it got updated to Sachin. From Vinod, it got updated to Sachin. Okay. Which format supports update and delete?
Delta.
Delta. Okay. Just remember
one
this.
question.
Yeah.
Vinod, one question.
Yes.
Can two different formats have the same name? As in,
No, you
you
cannot.
create one.
Metadata
Oh,
cannot be same. Metadata cannot be same. You can do it in different databases, okay? But in
oh,
sample, if you could, if it will throw an error. Let's say, for example, you can try that. Okay, EMPL1 is there, right? Now EMPL1, let's say I will try to do with ORC, for example. It will throw an error, okay? Because Spark catalog default is already having a EMP1,
okay, okay, okay.
okay?
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody got any questions? Delta format. Even guys, one thing you have to remember, even if you don't mention anything, okay, it will create delta table only. Default is delta, which is the main whole reason of creating delta lake is this. Default it is delta. How to know? If you describe the table, describe, okay, describe table EMP L2, then it will show. Okay, not here, describe extended. One second. I think I don't. It will show which format, everything it will show. Provider delta, owner this, everything it will show. Everything it will show. Describe table extended. So if you don't see in this notebook, one of the other notebooks you will see where it will be available. Okay. Describe table extended, if you see, it will show everything. Now, how this delta manage this, right? How this delta manage? Let's go to catalog. Okay, let's go to catalog. Let's click on this. which is the table that we have created, EMPL1. Okay. If you look here, there is something called as a history enabled for delta tables. Click on the history. Okay. You see, everything that you perform on a delta table will be, okay, documented. In the 0th version, you created a table. Okay. In first version, you inserted, you have written data. In second version, you deleted the data. In third version, you updated the data. Do whatever you want, it will be recorded. Do whatever you want, it will be recorded. Okay, there are some other things in this delta format, that time travel, okay, restoration of the tables. I will cover it. I will cover it when the time comes, but it will confuse you right now. Let's just understand that delta table supports create, read, update, delete. All the 4 operations. Create and read is supported by any format. Create, insert, read, truncate also supported by other format. But delta supports update and delete. Now I am showing this. Let me take another table, sample 3. It won't have a history here. Look at this. There is no history. There is really no history. Any table format you take. Sample 5, Parquet you take. No history, nothing. Right? Only EMP1, EMP2 will have that. EMPL2, EMPL1 will have that. Right? History. I just created, so there is nothing, next operations is not performed. So it is just version 0. Version 0. Okay. History will be maintained. History of snapshots. History of snapshots. Okay. This is really important for us to know how things work. How things work. Any more questions, guys? Anybody have? We can also
Okay,
use
I
schema
didn't get
integration.
it. Why that history was not available for the some tables
Because
and
you are just inserting, so they don't want to maintain history. You are just inserting the data, and the format is not so only delta format. Okay, only delta format the version control is required.
oh,
Only
okay.
they promise delta format version control is supported. Other formats, okay, there is no version control. I don't want to see. I can go to any version. I will show that while doing the select. Any version. Okay, I can restore from any version. Okay, that is required in delta. That is required in delta. That's why they have enabled for delta. Okay. And there is only one thing that is that I need to talk now is about this partitioning. Okay. Okay. So I keep talking about a table will be a folder, right? A table will be a folder, right? Okay. Now, so when there is really big data, super big, right? Big data, right? Like mean billions of rows, billions of rows. So when there are billions of rows, now I want to just read only some data, only some data. Okay. During that time, what I'm supposed to do? Okay. So there are something called as partitions and clustering. Okay, there are something called as a partition and clustering. What do I mean by a partition and clustering? Okay, let's say I want to divide the data. Okay, let's say I have a students from over the period of many years. There are a lot of students. Okay, now I want like student information to be maintained. Now the student information is getting bigger and bigger. When I query, okay, when I query, I will apply filter. I will apply filter based on age. Based on age. Okay. Now, it is always good to create partitions. To create partitions so that I will, because if I have one folder and I have billions of rows, if I try to read the data from the whole folder, then the performance will be slow. What if I read data from smaller folders or smaller files or smaller folder, mainly folder here, folder, then it will be quicker. It will be quicker. So in the case of big data, we don't have something called as a indexes. Okay, I'll explain what is index, right? Indexes. So we manage using partitions. Okay, split the data into different folders and cluster the data. Cluster the data. I will talk about clustering. Now, what will happen for a student table? Okay, this will be a folder. Inside this, there will be another folder for each age. Age is equal to 20, 22, 23. Inside this, there will be data related to age 22. Age 22. Okay. Now, if I create a table like this, then only it will work. I will show that. Create table. Okay. Student, blah, blah, some columns will be there. Here, I should give partition by age. Can I give more columns? You can give more columns. Partition by age. Okay. And then if you want to give date or whatever, you can give. There is no issue. You can have a number of, you will manage it according to the performance. Like if the performance is slow, you will start doing this. Even traditional, okay, DBMS is also having a partitions, right? Based on the date we'll do, like this year data should go into one folder, that year data will go into one folder. Because try to read less data so that it will be faster. Like that you will partition by age, partition by age. And also, what is clustering? Clustering is something inside partitions. If I want to, let's say if the students is studying in Bangalore, for example, right? If I want to again group the data, then means it will go into one file itself. It will go into one file. So in big data, normally whenever you try to load the data, if there will be 8 parallel things that run. So it may go to 8 files or any random file. Okay. Now I want to group only Bangalore data into one file. I will use cluster by to improve performance. Okay. We'll see both the examples. Let's say I'll just drop the table. So just dropping the table will help. Actually, there is no issue. If at all, if the folder is there, you can use %fs rm-r so that it will drop the folder also. Now, if I want to create a table, okay, let's say using CSV, you don't need to mention that, but if you want, you can use. Then partitioned by age, if I do, then whenever I insert the data, I will show that. Whenever I insert the data, now I have created this table. Now I want to insert this particular data. Okay, it is inserting the data. Now if I go to the particular location, %fs ls user hive arrow student. Inside student, there will be folders for each age. Age 20, age 21, age 22, age 23. There are only 4 ages. That's why it has created 4 folders. If you have 10,000, it will create 10,000 folders. If you have 100,000, it will create 100,000 folders. Inside this, the actual data will be available. Let's say if I want to do age 22, age is equal to 22. Then it will actually have that. Look at this. The data is stored. Actual data will be stored in the CSV files. These are just to manage things. These three are just to manage things by the Databricks, but this is the actual file where the data is stored. You can do it for any age. You can do it for any age 23. Okay, like that you can. It will be dynamic. Now there is no age 24. If you are inserting age 24 tomorrow, okay, let's say if I change something like this here, 24, okay. Now if I insert value, it will create another folder for age 24. Finished. Okay, it will create another folder for age 24. Let's say it is completely dynamic, guys. Just remember that. Just remember that. Age 24. Okay. Like this, you can do the partition one. Cluster by, if I say, I intentionally put this particular example here. If you see 6666777, these IDs are repeating. Now, you, even if I do partition by, the data may go into different files because there is a parallelism and everything. Now, if I do cluster by, okay, what it will do, related based on the ID, then related data, it will try to squeeze into one folder, one file. It will try to squeeze into one file. What I will do, I will just drop it again and then show you one example. If I do cluster by, how many ever buckets you want, like if you want 5 buckets, 10 buckets, based on the size of the data, okay, your data architect will tell you like do this, do that, okay, then it will be helpful. We will not be directly saying no, just do this. No, you will observe it over a period of time and then you will store the data. Here it will be at a file level, it will not be at a folder level, so it is not easy to actually. Let me check what is this 20, what is the age of 7, 23. Okay, age is equal to 23. If you look at the file folder, then you will have a lot of files. Okay, if you check one file, let's say, and then see whether the data is going into that file itself, then we'll understand. Okay, this is really very less we'll use. Like I have not used in the real time. If you see, you'll try to put all the sevens into one bucket. Okay, if you could see, if you use the cluster, if you use the cluster, just remember this. Okay, this partition you will use day in and day out, but cluster by you'll use very rarely, very rarely. Okay, this is about the tables. Anybody got any questions? Ask me. I will move to the views topic. Just I will repeat. Tables can be managed, unmanaged. How do you decide? If you create a table with location, okay, then it is unmanaged. Without location is managed. You can create table using different types of files. Only Delta supports all the CRUD, create, read, update, delete. Other supports create, read, truncate, insert. Okay, only Delta supports 2 extra things, that is update and delete. Okay, you can do the partitions, you can do the clustering. Okay, and you can organize the data for improving the performance, Now let me talk about views. Okay, what is a view? I have a table. Okay, I have a table. I'll give a few use cases of views. I have a table. Okay, I have ID. Okay, I have a patient table. Let's say I have a patient table. Right? Now this patient table is having ID, name, age, okay, type of disease, whatever, right? Now I don't want this information of age and name should be exposed to the world. Okay, this is called as a personal identity information. Okay, just remember PII, interviewers may ask, what is PIA, what is non-PIA? Okay, how do you manage PIA, non-PIA? Okay, so you have to tell, I will try to create views with non-PIA information. Let's say table is having these 3 columns, you will create a view again. Okay, how you will create a view? Create view. Okay, name of the view. Okay, VW. So it is always good practice to know whether it is a view or a table. So you'll prefix things VW underscore. Okay, let's say patient. Okay, here you can do has select any type of query you can write. Select ID from patient. Okay, what this will do? This will create a view with only information that can be exposed to the external world. Information that can be exposed to the external world, which don't harm the people, right? If you just expose this name and age, they will file a lawsuit. Okay, you may be under bars, so you'll be under trouble. So just remember, okay, people always try to use views for security reasons. Okay, view, how will you create view? Create view keyword, name of the view, has select. Select statement can be very complicated. Select star from patient, select star from ID, whatever, select ID, one column, whatever, right? From patient. Now there is another scenario where I am writing, okay, some select statement again and again. Select statement again and again. Like I am joining 5 tables. Okay, I'm joining. People who don't know join will come to know when we write the select statement, when we learn about DRL. Okay, I'm using 4 or 5 tables. Let's say student marks, student university. Okay, now I want to display all the information of the student ID, student name, student roll number, university name. Okay, his marks that he got in each semester, all those things I want to display, that are stored in different tables. So you are going to join. Now you want to, okay, you may use that again and again. Use that statement again and again. Then you will create a view. You will create a view. You will create a view and reuse it. Reuse it. Okay, one is for security reasons. Okay, another is for reusability. Reusability. This is the sole, okay, reason you create a view. Okay, reason you create a view. Okay, what we'll do, we'll understand. There are 3 types of views. We'll understand how things work. Okay, fine. So what I will do before creating a view, because view will be always created on top of table, views are created on top of tables. I'll create a sample table. Everywhere, wherever we need sample tables, this script will be provided. Kindly bear that in mind. Okay, that will be helpful for you to work on it. There is already a view created for you also. If at all, if something is created like this, just do delete of it. How you will delete? %fs rm hyphen r, remove this. Okay, fine. I'll create it. Now, if you could observe this particular table, ID, name, working years. Okay, working years is 5, 7, 10, 15, whatever, right? I want to write a query, reusable query, where I want to fetch the information of people whose number of years they are working should be greater than or equal to 5. How will you write that? Select star from table. Okay, all employees. If you type all, it should actually show, but it is not showing. It's okay. All employee. Where? That's a condition, right? I am telling working year should be greater than 5. Working years greater than 5 or equal to 5. Okay, I will fetch this information. That's absolutely fine. Now I want to reuse this again and again. What I will do, I'll create a view. Create view VW underscore all underscore employee, for example. Has, then it will create a view. You don't have to write this. Just if you remember the view name, select star from VW underscore all underscore employee. It will appear over here. It will display the data. This is well and good. Okay, this is well and good. It will display the data. It will also appear in the catalog. Look at this. It will appear here. It will appear here. Sorry, here. This is the view. It will appear here. If you click on that, it will show the properties. Now, this is just a standard view, right? This is a standard view. Okay. Why I'm calling this as a standard view? Okay. So if I create once, I can use many times. I create once and use many times. I can create another type of view. I want to use it only during the execution of the node. I want to use view only during running of the notebook. If I want to do that, okay, I need to create a temporary view. Okay, if I do that, what will happen? Then it will exist in the same notebook session. What do I mean by same notebook session? If I create a temporary view, okay, it will exist only, I can access the view only in this particular notebook. I cannot access outside this particular notebook. Okay, I will show that. Syntax is this: create or replace temporary view. Instead of view, replace also not required. Okay, if you want, you can do that. Okay, that is fine. Has select star from, okay, all employee, okay, where working age greater than or equal to 5. Okay, now I will execute this. Okay, I can see this. I will try to access this, select star from temporary view. Okay, I can access. I can. So now you can ask me, what is the difference? You know, you have created this particular temporary view, you have created a view. So if you go to catalog, you don't see a temporary view available over here. It is a notebook session specific. Okay, can I use in another notebook? Let me open a new notebook in a new tab. Here, if I try to access that, let's say there are two views that I created, right? I'll try to access both of them. Select star from, this is the temporary view. Okay. If I try to access, it is not available. Okay. If I try to access the permanent view that we created, select star from VW underscore all employee, I can access it. Okay. So why is the reason why people don't want to store it in a metadata? When the people, there are a lot of security reasons, lot of, let's say, finance data or some other data, they will do a lot of calculations, right? They don't want, they may reuse, okay, but they don't want to store it in metadata. Then they use temp views. Okay, temp views don't have metadata, and it is specific to notebook. Now, is there any way that I can create a view in this particular notebook and I can use it in the other sessions also? Yes, there is a way, that is global temp view. If I create a global temp view, let's say create a replace plus global temporary view, GTV I will call it as GTV instead of this. Then I can reuse it anyway. I can select star from all employee, all underscore employee, where working years greater than or equal to 5. Okay, now I can try this here. Instead of TV, GTV. Okay, here it will be stored in a schema called global underscore temp. It will be stored in a schema called global underscore temp. Then you can access. Again, you may not be able to see this metadata. Again, you may not be able to see this metadata. Then what is the use of this? In real time, we don't store all the logic in one node. All the logic in one notebook. So I'll run another notebook and use the view over in the first notebook first. Okay, that's when we'll use this global temp views. So when do these global temp views go away? When I stop the cluster. If I stop the cluster, global temp view will not exist, but view exists. View will exist. We'll see the difference. I'll write the difference so that you'll understand. Okay, view. Does anyone know default? I want to make the size to 16. This, if anybody knows, let me know so that I can view, temp view, global temp. Okay, view metadata available, no meta. Does global temp view have metadata? Can anybody answer? Hello?
No,
No
Vidhan.
metadata. Okay, can we access view even after stopping the cluster? Normal view. Will it, when the cluster spins up, can we access the view? Yes. Temp view, can we access after stopping the cluster?
No.
Global temp, can we access after stopping the cluster? Stopping the cluster. No. No. Now, can I use the view in another notebook? Normal view.
Yes.
Can I use the temp view in another notebook?
No.
Can somebody else also answer? Can I use global temp view in another notebook?
No.
Yes.
Yes, we can use. When will the global temp view stop working? Once we stop the cluster. Okay. This day in and day out you are going to use. Day in and day out you are going to use global temp view, global temp view, and then views. Heavily you are going to use. Heavily you are going to use. Basic use of view is for security reasons, for reusable purpose. Okay. And temp and global temp mainly to avoid storing the metadata. Okay. Global temp is mainly to use in other notebook sessions. So one notebook is called one session. Okay. This is another session. If I am opening another notebook, is another session. If at all, if I am using it at the whole cluster level, that is a cluster session. That's a cluster session. You need to remember this. Okay, you need to remember this. Any questions anybody having, ask me. I will wait. I'll give you a minute. Don't hesitate. If you hesitate, you are the losers. I am not the loser.
So Binod, we
Yeah.
are creating like temporary or global or view. Okay. So these are the storage capacity and all those things will be like in the cache only, or it will be permanent.
It will not be in the cache. We have to put in the cache if you want, but it will just a stored select statement.
Okay.
No data will exist. Background views don't store any data, right?
Okay.
Don't store.
It will fetch from the original table only and it
Yes,
will display
it's a
during
stored
runtime.
select statement. Yeah. Views, no storing of data. There are views called materialized views. Anyhow, we cannot show. We need a premium edition of Databricks for that. We'll see. Views, no storing of data. Okay, fine.
In this all view, do you have
Mhm.
some access control as well, or these are the only different type of view will control?
We will do the access control on the view, normal view.
Okay.
Okay, temp and global temp. If you have access to cluster, you can use.
Okay.
Okay.
Means there is no separate access required. If you have, like if you define the global, then it will automatically it will have access, right?
So if you define the global, you create a view. Okay, you create a view, global temp view. Then it will be, if you are using the same cluster, if you are using the same cluster, I can use that also. If you create a temp view, I cannot use. It will be only
Okay.
for you.
Okay.
Global temp view, if you are using the same cluster, cluster name can be anything. If you are using the same cluster, Vijay and Vinod are using same cluster, then I can use this.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Constraints again. Can anybody tell me what are the different constraints supported in the Databricks? Databricks are any big data. What are constraints that we have? Null, telling a particular column to follow some condition, like when inserting the data, right? Condition. So if you say null, id int null means it will allow null. By default, it will allow null. If you don't want to allow null, then mention not null. Null, not null, check constraint. These are only constraints supported in big data. How about primary key, foreign key? Okay. Then unique key. Why it is not supported? Because the data will be distributed and stored it into multiple folders and files. It is always hard to actually validate. That's why all these constraints are not supported. All these primary key, foreign key, and unique key. Okay. In this particular notebook, whenever you are creating a table, for example, if you want to mention not null constraint, you can just mention name of the column, data type of the column, and then not null. Name of the column, data type of the column, not null. So if you mention not null, and if you try to actually insert the data, then it will throw an error. We'll see that. Also. Okay, not null constraint violated for the column is the same. Even if you do this in this particular SQL, if you mention not null, if you try to insert the data, then it will throw this particular error. Then it will throw this particular error. Okay, like that we have check constraint also. We have some other constraints also, which is mentioned over here. You can just take a look. I say like date range should always be greater than this whenever you are trying to insert the data. And if you try to insert the data with date range not greater than 1900, it will violate the date range constraints. It will violate the constraints. Okay. Once you create a table, if you want to add a constraint, you need to alter. We'll see the alter tomorrow. This will be too much for today. We'll see the alter statements tomorrow. What all we can alter, we'll see tomorrow. Okay. Constraint can be mentioned over here, or you can alter and add it later also. Alter and add it later also. Okay. Hope you all are practicing this. Just listening story will not help. I'm promising you. Just listening will be very good. Yeah, this is like very simple, this and all, but practice, 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 practice. Okay, practice and it will be. Keep your hands going faster. It will make you confident. It will make you to face the interviews easily. Just do this. Just practice every day. It will be helpful. Okay, any more questions anybody having today? Ask me, otherwise we'll wind up. We'll catch up again tomorrow. Anybody not able to follow, guys? Am I going slow? Just wanted to take the feedback. Actually, anybody, am I going slow? Am I going super fast? Fast? Do I need to change the pace? Please let me know. Any feedback? Okay. Fine, I'll stop the recording.